So let's start. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Misako from Tokyo. Cherry blossom is fully blooming now. And welcome to Design Singapore Council Market Entry webinar for Japan. As you may know, Design Singapore Council is Singapore's national agency focusing on developing and promoting Singapore design sector. As part of an ongoing effort to provide resources that support the Singapore design community, the Design Singapore Council has put together a series of market entry webinars, including today's market entry webinar for the Japan market. If you are keen to internationalize your design business, please stay on till the end of today's session to learn more about the Council's Business of Design program, as other resources that might be useful for your business when it comes to expanding to other markets. Today, this is me presenting about Japanese market. So let me share my screen. This is my presentation today. And please do not hesitate to post any comments on chat so that I can correct all the questions for the Q&A later on. Please let me know if somebody don't see my screen. It should be okay. Okay. So let's start. Today, I would like to present Japan market introduction to you, the Singapore design firms, including general information, contract, and little bit of lifestyle and furniture. Here are the topics you will hear today. So first of all, I want to talk about my company, and then an introduction to market entry information, including general information about Japan for design firms in Singapore, and how to work successfully with Japanese companies and the individuals. And I also want to touch the trends with COVID-19 on contract projects. Then I would like to talk about contract project in general. This is all about power games between designers, manufacturers, and trading companies. And then furniture and lifestyle. Then last of all, fairs in Japan, and we can have the Q&A session. So before starting the webinar, let me introduce our company and myself. I'm Misako from the company called Inu. Our company, Inu, just started last year during COVID-19 situation. Inu, maybe some people might know, but Inu means dog in Japanese. And I put the name dog because dog is an animal which is loyal, hard worker, sweet, and there's a quote, good luck may come when dog walks in Japanese. We established the company to support design firms, design industry, and communities. And currently, we are supporting some manufacturers, designers. So let me come back to the examples later. And I also want to introduce myself. Let me speak about myself. My name is Misako. Very unfortunate, but I am not trained as a designer, but a trader. My first career was with Itochu Corporation, which is one of the biggest trading company in Japan. And I was trading tuna fish for canned tuna. And as I had to trade tuna fish all the time, I started visiting architecture and design stores in my free time, which unexpectedly connects myself to next career. Then there's any fortunate that I joined Quadra, the Danish textile company for interior, which is also in Singapore. I joined the Quadra Japan as one of the first members, where I met many players in design industries. So it is very fortunate for me to keep supporting our clients, manufacturers and designers as being Inu from last year. You can see there are my main clients and collaborators for us. Not only architecture studios and manufacturers, you can see our business areas expands to lifestyles such as Avex, Panasonic, and Ubugoe, the crowdfunding company. Let me tell you a little bit about our main clients, as you may not be familiar with Japanese companies in this industry. The first one is Kokuyo. I think they have the subsidiary in Singapore too. One of the largest office furniture and stationery company. We are helping on building their collection called Brand Collection. They are trading with external brands from overseas. We do design research, communication with international furniture manufacturers, and plan trainings for internals to get the employees more understand more information about the design furniture. Let's move on to Karimoko. Maybe you know, because there are some dealers in Singapore as well. Karimoko is one of the biggest wooden furniture manufacturers near Nagoya. We were appointed to promote Karimoko to contract market through new space in Tokyo. Here's some examples Karimoko had worked recently. So not only the furniture for home, they are trying to expand their business to contract market. We also support our architecture studio, Keiji our design. They work across architecture, interior, and products. And we support them to get new business development and PR, press, and communications. Finally, I would like to add Naoki Terada. He's a product designer based in Tokyo. We support him to conduct webinars with him and some of the communications. You can see on the right side, you can see the ice cream spoons. Currently, his package is exhibited in the Hungry Design exhibition at Design Singapore Council until 31st March. So if you have time, please visit and see his design as well. Okay. Now, let's move on to Japan topics. Maybe some of you have been to Japan already, but Japan is number 11th most populous country in the world, as well as one of the most densely populated and urbanized. 125 million people and 334 people square kilometer, which is ranking number 24. Meanwhile, Singapore is 5.7 million people, but 7,900 people square kilometers. So it's a little bit different between us. And Tokyo is the most density city, 37 million people, which I am pointing. And next to Tokyo, there are 3 cities, which is also dense, who are trying to commute to Tokyo. And then we see Osaka area and Nagoya area and Fukuoka area, which are urbanized and populated the most. And we are divided into 47 administrative prefectures and 8 traditional regions. And we are known for the forest area is quite high, ranking number 21. So 67% of the land is forest. And most of half of the forest are planted after World War II. I'm going to talk about a little bit more about that. But meanwhile, forest in Singapore is only 3%. And then I would like to talk about Global Gender Gap Index 2020. We are getting lower and lower every year, unfortunately. So we are ranked 121 of all the 153 countries. And we are speaking Japanese, and currency is Japanese yen. Okay, now I would like to talk how to work successfully with Japanese companies and individuals in Japan. When you think about expanding your business to overseas like Japan, maybe it's nice to know how to work successfully with Japanese people. We have a deep culture aspect. So I would like to mention that culture aspects that you should know before coming into Japan market. Let's see. So we are particular about starting time. It should be always on time, but we are not. We are uncertain about ending time. So meaning that we have longer working hours and drinking after work as a habit. And harmony is the greatest of virtues. So it's very important sense of decision-making system. And seniority system and language barrier, introverted. Let's talk about time. So I'm sometimes very late to the meetings, but starting time or meeting time should be on time. And when I get to the meeting like 1 or 2 minutes late, then everybody looks at me because everybody is trying to arrive on their seat 5 minutes before the meeting. So it is critical to be on time. Otherwise, ones get lost their trust sometimes. So be careful. So ending time is uncertain, long working hours, because we are kind of educated that we can't go home without senior going home. So sometimes the juniors are waiting that seniors are going home. But it's much less now after COVID happened because nobody is really going to office. So it's getting better. And it's also now less, but still, people really love to go drinking after work. So decisions are often made while they are drinking after work. So I'm going to talk how to deal with this, but this is a kind of their happiness in a way to get the teamwork. And I want to talk about harmony and seniority system. One of the most important values of Japanese culture group is group harmony. We call it wa. This is prioritize the needs of society rather than personal interests or opinions. And to make everybody happy, we keep meeting, we keep having meetings to everybody agrees on the idea. So we maybe can be seen very slow on decision making, but once we decide, then we go. And then there are the system called Nenko Joretsu. Nenko Joretsu is respect and value on seniority. So I can say that Japanese people tend not to quit the job. I heard that average-wise, Japanese people only change their job 2.4 times in their lifetime because they can be respected and valued once they work longer than other people. So that a seniority-based wage and promotion system creates the Renko Joretsu system as well. So it's very nice to remember. People still try to work longer. And this is also interesting that we sometimes are said that we have language barrier and introverted because of the Japanese language. Even Japanese and Singaporean passports offer the most visa-free travel that I mean, you and me can travel 190 countries without having visa. However, Japanese people only have 23% of Japanese have the passport in 2019. And even 40s, there are only 21% of the people holding passport. BS under 20s, 32%. And we also can say that we have a big language barrier because knowledge of English, we have the test of English as a foreign language ranking is 26 in Asian 29 countries, which is quite low. And I don't see so many people speak English still, especially in this industry. However, I think it is interesting to work with Japanese people, like very similar sometimes, but very different in culture. So my recommendations, my tips for you is, it's quite difficult for me, but for me too, but you should be on time. And if you are invited to drink after work, maybe you can accompany them sometimes so that they try to communicate after work more casually and you can get closer with them. And don't get annoyed with small yes, because you should know that Japanese people have to make a big yes. Having meetings, everybody is happy. So it takes so much time. So don't get annoyed because you have to build up the small yes with many people. And be patient, it's related. Be patient, lay back and see how the decisions are made. Even I don't see how the decisions are made in the client's company. So each company has its own way to make the decisions. However, it doesn't mean that you don't need to push, but you have to push nicely, but directly is nice because you are a foreigner and it's always nice to communicate. And I'm known that I'm very directly pushing people to make decisions. And learn some Japanese words to communicate. I think Japanese language is quite complicated, but maybe it's nice to learn some greetings or words to communicate. That's a kind of first but very important step to be closer to Japanese people. Working with a Singaporean designer, let me show a good example how the Singaporean designer Gabriel Tan has worked with two Japanese companies. Maybe some of you know the brand called Ariake, which is creative directed by Gabriel Tan. This is founded by Legna Tech and Hirata Chair, two companies from the furniture production town of Morodomi in Saga, which is the south area of Japan. Named after the Ariake Sea in southern Japan, Ariake means daybreak in Japanese. It symbolized a new chapter of two factories, as they embark on a collaboration with the international designer for the global market. So I have supported his workshop that he organizes every year with the product designers related to Ariake. And it was when I was working at the textile company, and I could see that Gabriel tried to spend so much time and stay near this factory for some weeks with designers. And even he tries to build the brand together with the factory guys. So I could see the guys accepted, welcomed Gabriel so much. And I think Gabriel became the member of the two companies. So they were very relate on what Gabriel said. And Gabriel invited many international designers, as you can see in the picture. And it took some years to grow the brand, but I can see the Ariake brand in Tokyo, in Saga, and many people are trying to specify the brand in the contract market. So I think the furniture brand should take 2-3 years to be recognized in Japan, but this is a good example. Okay, now I would like to mention about the trends with COVID-19 on contract project. I have listed 6 categories: office, home, tourism, retail, hospitality, and public. So let's see the office section first. Rate of vacancy in Tokyo increases for almost a year. Companies reducing working area, rethinking the sense of belongings. So more lounge area is coming for the office design. So after the COVID happened, some companies moving out from Tokyo. For example, you can see the picture, Persona, the HR outsourcing company is moving to Awaji Island, which is 500 kilometers away from Tokyo. And they are making a huge office village for 2,200 people. And Jeans, the glasses company, is trying to move little by little to Maebashi, a little 100 kilometers north than Tokyo. So they will have 2 headquarters. And Amuse, the entertainment company, is also moving to Yamanashi. So little more and more, we hear more about the news that people are trying to move out from Tokyo. And also some companies notice after the COVID that employees can have the focusing time in their home, working from home. So they are trying to, so 21% of all the companies are thinking to reduce office scale. So the big ones like Fujitsu is trying to reduce to 50%. Colopla, the game companies, reduces to 60%, less focusing area. However, IT e-commerce companies sometimes tends to expand because they are more popular. The e-commerce is being popular after COVID-19. So there are some example about the design after COVID-19 situation. So more lounge area are required, and this is to increase the sense of belongings to the office. Some designers tend to offer more greens inside, sometimes tents for camp to casualize the office, to get together and talk and discuss. And also we don't know, we are not sure about how many people are going to work in the office. The designers needed to give the space more flexibility. So movable furnitures are specified more in the office after COVID-19 situation. So in this Bridgestone office, this is everything can be moved. So you can have the big meeting room, or you can just have chairs and you can stack all the chairs, which is like more, you can use it as a lounge area. Then home, we have serious problems with working from home. I don't know in Singapore, but we normally live in a very, very small house that we don't have space to work from. And out migration from Tokyo rate is increasing like 10 to 70% in 2020 vs 2019. And more innovation market. The design magazine Axis April 2020, they made a special feature, ultra connected local communities. Talking about designers, design communities move out from Tokyo and start something in the countryside. So there's a map which had started after the Tokyo creative people moved to the local area. Then let's move to detail. Sorry. So as for tourism, number of tourists decreased a lot. We don't have foreigners coming to Japan, but more in e-commerce for national people. But department store sales decreased a lot. So retail existing business model is no longer popular, I can say. However, the international luxury brands are opening their flagship store in Ginza, Omotesando, the most popular area in Japan. So these Hermes and Louis Vuitton designed by Jun Naoki were opened this month. So more of the luxury shops are opening soon, I heard. In hospitality, so we expected the Olympics in 2020 last year. We expected more tourists. In fact, 600 hotels opened last 5 years. In 2020, many design hotels opened, but many of them had to close their business just after their opening because of the corona. Not only in Tokyo, Kyoto is known for the nice little hotels, but last year, 518 hotels opened in Kyoto, but 580 hotels were closed down. I also would like to mention about some design hotel which were renovated from old buildings outside of Tokyo area in 2020. So left is Shiroya Hotel, which is 100 kilometers far from Tokyo, was renovated from 300 years building by Misako Fujimoto. And the right one is also a very old house renovated into a hotel. Also big hotels, luxury hotels are planned to open in 2021 to 2023. For example, Double Hotel Osaka, you can see the light, and Tokyo Milano in Shinjuku in 2023, and Tokyo Torch Tower also in 2023. And I can see many of the renovation hotels outside of Tokyo are also planned, and mainly Hoshinoya, the Japanese ryokan group, is working on the projects. Not only this, such as Bulgari Hotel, W Hotel, Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott Group, mainly in Tokyo, but also Okinawa, Misako, and in Hokkaido will be the next destinations because people are not tend to stay in the urban cities and trying to go out from Tokyo. Let me talk a little bit about contract project. If you're wishing to come into Japanese market, you should know there's a big power games between designers, manufacturers, and trading companies. from beginning to the end, there are many, many stakeholders involved in one project. I think this is same in Singapore. So it is very important to know who are the most powerful and who are the key to convince the design you have. Because sometimes it is very possible that the project management company or contract dealers are the most powerful when the designers are not powerful enough. So it's a very simple recommendation from me that not so many people are speaking in English. So if you want to go into the Japanese market, maybe you can start finding a Japanese partner to work with so that you can learn about how the Japanese business, contract market move, and also to communicate with them well. So another example for contract project in Japan, I have been working with Norm architects from Denmark, teamed up with Keiji Design, worked on an renovation project. This is, you can see the right two pictures. This is a renovation project called Kinuta Terrace, nestled in dwelling complex of 36 maisonette, built in 1991. And this is in Tokyo. And two maisonettes, they were in charge of one each. So they renovated a room into a very beautiful maisonette. And this was good because Norm Architects design language fit into Japanese contract market because they teamed up with Keiji Ashizawa, who speaks fluent Japanese and who handles, in a way, convince people to renovate well enough to express Norm Architects design world. So I think this is great to have Japanese team you almost can call friend to work with. Let me touch a little bit about lifestyle wooden furniture in Japan. There's so much to talk, but let me just mention the entry information. So Japan is known for traditional crafts. When we talk about the traditional crafts of Japan, we always recognize our culture combines influence from Asia, but nowadays influence from Europe and North America. And traditional Japanese art, when I say that, it includes crafts such as ceramics, textile, lacquerware, sword and dolls, which are not bought so often in these days. So there are some of the companies trying to adjust more modern with traditional craftsmanship techniques, and they try to be international. So for example, the ceramics in the Saga area where I am pointing is trying to collaborate with international designers and sell to international markets. In Japan, we are known for wooden furniture, but we have a very short history in furniture making. The general public were not using chairs by around 1950s, 60s, because we are living on the tatami. So that the wooden furniture manufacturer have a short history. Most of all have from 1940s. So many small mid-scale manufacturers are trying to expand to international market, collaborating with product designers after 2010, because foreign people are used to have chairs more than Japanese people, but also the crafts that we have is quite beautiful. And almost all manufacturers have the same challenge for SDGs. that we have the forest area of 67% of the land. However, 40% of the whole forest are planted forest after World War II, which is after 1945, which we needed more wood to build houses, to burn things. So 90% of the trees in the planted forest is coniferous trees, which is softer than the oak or walnut, which is very difficult to make the chairs. However, all the wooden furniture manufacturers tend to use the coniferous trees like sugi, hinoki, like Japanese ones, to achieve the SDGs challenge. Okay, this is the last part. Last of all, I would like to introduce furniture and lifestyle fairs in Japan. Here's the schedule of the fairs recommended for international designers. Let's look into the fairs one by one. If you are furniture designers, I would recommend you to visit the Asahikawa Design Week and International Furniture Design Fair, Asahikawa, as not only 50 of wooden furniture manufacturers in that area participate, but also many of them from other areas are joining, and you will get so many opportunities to get closer to the manufacturers. And number of visitors, 18,000 people, which is not included the local people. And next is Interior Lifestyle Fair and IFFT, which are organized by the same organization. So in May, you will see the lifestyle, goods, ceramics, and clothes for May. And more furnitures are for October. They also offer booths for designers to exhibit in the hall. So you can meet with the manufacturers, but also the Japanese designers in the fair. And the last one is Design Art. Design Art is held in the center of Tokyo, aiming to show creations and concepts across all genres of design and art. So public are freely touring around to see the exhibition for 2 weeks, and they count 140,000 people are visiting the exhibitions. Okay, that is all from me. Thank you very much for listening my presentation. I hope you enjoyed and something new to you. Before open the floor for the Q&A session, we want to bring your attention to the screen for those interested in getting to know more about Design Singapore Council Business of Design program. I would also like to introduce Mabel from the council, who will share more about the Business of Design program. So let me change. Oh, okay. So please, Mabel.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Misako. And thank you everyone for taking the time to join us on this rainy Monday afternoon. So as Misako has mentioned, I'd like to take this chance to share more about the Business of Design program, or the BOD program. So the BOD program aims to grow the export value of Singapore designs through building mindshare in both business to business and business to consumer markets around the world. This 2-year-long program will address targeted aspects of developing the capabilities of participating design firms. This includes mentorship, access to networks, and brand storytelling to increase their competitiveness and demand on a global stage. So we are now going to have the second run of the BOD program, and this run aims to generate new business opportunities for up to 8 established Singapore design studios and brands with the potential to internationalize in markets such as Europe and Asia. So this includes Japan and Southeast Asia. So to grow businesses and propel them globally, the BOD program encompasses 3 key phases. For the first phase, DSG will appoint a panel of in-market consultants to guide design studios and brands in their pitch to secure overseas business opportunities. The consultants will also connect participating design studios and brands to relevant business circles while providing mentorship for follow-through. These business circles or leads include property owners and specifiers for those who are seeking commercial contract projects, brands and manufacturers for those seeking consultancy projects, and global or regional retailers and distributors for those who are seeking buyers. These consultants will be selected based on their networks and influence and are expected to have convertible business leads in their markets. The second phase comprises participants potentially being provided funding to engage a brand strategy agency. This will help to enforce quality perception of their brand so as to facilitate stronger recall. DSG will also organize a series of media training sessions for participating design firms. The support for the second phase will be provided on a co-funding basis. Lastly, the BOD program will culminate in a themed collective showcase at an international showcase platform in 2022. And working in conjunction with the in-market consultants, this approach will raise the international standing of Singapore design and interest buyers from target markets in Asia and Europe. To support interested design firms that are keen to internationalize in understanding the commitment required to enter new markets, DSG is co-organizing a series of market entry webinars, including today's session, in addition to the BOD program. These webinars are also part of an ongoing effort to provide resources that support the Singapore design community. So the open call for BOD participants is currently open and it will close on 22nd April. Let me just quickly run through the eligibility and selection criteria for the program. So in terms of the eligibility criteria, the applicant must be a Singapore registered design enterprise from any of the following fields: furniture and lifestyle product design studios, multidisciplinary design studios that cover furniture and lifestyle product design as a part of their offering, and design-driven furniture and or lifestyle product brands that work with Singapore designers to launch product lines. The lead applicant must also be a Singapore citizen or a permanent resident. In terms of the selection criteria, the BOD program prioritizes established design studios and brands which fulfill the following criteria: having a compelling and differentiated brand philosophy and aspiring towards good design, which impacts positively on the environment, culture, society, or the economy, having strong business fundamentals and being ready to scale up to meet international demand. So to do so, the participant must, for example, operate with a sound business model and have sufficient resources or be prepared to scale through a network of production partners. Lastly, having a good understanding of the commitment required to enter a new market. So because of this, we strongly encourage interested applicants to attend the market entry webinars for the markets that they're keen to expand into. So I hope this sharing provides a good idea of what the Business of Design program is about. And for more information about the BOD program, as well as the upcoming market entry webinar we have later today on the European market, please scan the QR code. I will now pass the time back to Misako for the Q&A session.
Thank you, Mabel. It was interesting. So together with Design Singapore team, we are looking forward to supporting and meeting the design firms in Singapore like you to get into the Japan market together. Now we would like to move forward to the Q&A sessions. So if you have any questions, just post on the chat area. And I see 2 questions. So Joso, thank you for your question. And what do I mean by a small yes and a big yes? This is a very good question because I don't think not so many people have it. So maybe I should share my screen again. Sorry. So small yes and big yes means that in general, not everyone, but in general, we do like communicate with designers and we are quite positive in many ways. So for example, juniors talking with designers and they are always saying, yes, that design is very nice. We love it. We want to work on this. However, maybe you can experience that the project never going forward, because this is the state that you don't have a big yes, because the decision should be made with under the name of harmony. So the junior has to bring the small yes to the seniors to make the big yes. So it goes, if you are working with big companies, then you will get like 5 or 6 layers of small yes. Then you have to correct these small yes to make the yes bigger and bigger. That is one of the hardest part that you will see, that you don't know where to believe in a way. But don't worry, if you hear yes, maybe you can just directly ask, what can I do next with you? Then maybe you can build the project together with the juniors up to the seniors. And I also recommend to communicate with the business owners if you can. Then you can go from the down and from the up, so you can in a way shortcut your project to become in real. And what are the considerations for Singapore plan to be aware of with regards to shipping furniture to Japan? For example, certification and standards, and other consideration for the Japanese customs. Oh, good question. Maybe I have to come back to you for the customs, because I think this is depending on the items and also how you export. So maybe I can come back through Mabel, the Design Singapore team, later. But thank you for your question. And Wendy, oh, thank you for your question. And thank you for the insightful sharing. Thank you for listening. And from my experience, it takes time to build trust with Japanese clients and partners. Do you think it is realistic to expect business outcomes in 2 years under the BOD framework? Good question. And I think this is all about how you make the shortcut. And also, if you have the good friend who recommends you as a designer, maybe it can be much shorter. That's why I think I'm going to support with Design Singapore, the Singaporean designers. And within 2 years, I think lifestyle items should be easier to be seen the outcomes. But furnitures, it's depending on the deadline that manufacturer carry. Sometimes they have the like a pop-up project, which are trying to achieve some SDGs projects. Am I answering your question, Wendy? Yeah, but let me try my best to support you guys. And
sorry, Mabel here.
Yes.
I think I should also add, Misako is one of the in-market consultants for the Business of Design program. So if you're keen to work in the Japanese market and you have any questions about the Business of Design program, feel free to email us later if you have any questions. Yeah, and as Misako said, it might be 2 years, maybe enough for lifestyle products, you mentioned Misako, but maybe a bit more challenging for furniture. But then with connections to the business circles that Misako has, then that might be a shortcut, as she mentioned. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to add, if the contract project, I see normally offices are completed after 6 to 9 months. and hotels, maybe 3 years. So it's going to be difficult for hotels, but it's going to be okay for office, interior, and cafe, retail shops. Any more questions? Oh. So, okay, thank you for your questions. Also, please remember to take part in post-event survey and end of webinar. So, yeah, so this is all. This is under COVID situation still, but I am very much looking forward to seeing you after this situation calms down. So thank you very much again for your time today, and please have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Misako, and thanks everyone for joining us.